Today on Imagine If You Will, we're back inside Rod and Dan's Dimension Diner, and we're making up some alien food because I got word that there's a Martian and a Venusian invading and trying to colonize our planet. I don't know. We're talking about Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up this week on the Imagine If You Will podcast, starring John Hoyt and Barney Phillips. It's definitely one of my favorite episodes, and we're going to cook up some alien-style food inside of a hipster-style diner to kind of go along with the episode. Some OKONOMIYAKI, I probably said that wrong, pancakes, some alien pancakes for our wonderful Venusian and Martian friends. So come on in the kitchen and let's get this show started. J. Sarge? Welcome back to Rod and Dan's Dimension Diner, inside the fifth dimension. I am Dan Gens. You can find me on Twitter at Dan Gens. This is the Imagine If You Will podcast. It's a chronological walk through the Twilight Zone Original Series, and I also recently decided to turn it into a bit of a cooking show once in a while. And that's going to change again. I've got some sketches and short video idea plans to bring to you good listeners and good viewers of the Imagine If You Will podcast. This is definitely centered around the Twilight Zone, but not restricted to the Twilight Zone. So thanks for stopping in. This week, as I said, I'm going to make something that I don't think I'm going to like. The reason I chose this dish was because I searched alien food on Google and this came up. It's not alien food. It looks a little alien. It'll be fun to make. It'll be interesting to see what it tastes like. And I also have this really cool magical pancake batter mix that I got from the good people at Pelican Bay. Shout out to Pelican Bay. You can check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/Pelican Bay Ltd or Twitter. I will be tagging you good people in this video at Pelican Bay Ltd. And they're also on Instagram, but I don't use Instagram, but it's at Pelican Bay Ltd. So check them out. This is Galaxy Pancake Mix, blueberry with marshmallows. Also lots of cosmic sprinkles, magical and gooey marshmallows. Should be good. Should be fun. It's definitely going to taste good. The OKONOMIYAKI, which I'm not saying properly, probably will taste good to the right person. I'm just not sure I am that person. But either way, let's get into this episode briefly. I'm probably not going to talk a lot about it. We do have it on in the background here in the diner. I would recommend, if you haven't seen Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up, what are you doing with your life? I mean, seriously, this is a seminal Twilight Zone episode along those same lines of Time Enough at Last and some of the Obsolete Man, which comes up next. Some of the Maybe to Serve Man, definitely not as dramatically driven, but don't get it twisted. This is definitely a comedic horror story. What we're seeing here is the precipice of things like Tucker and Dale versus Evil or Shaun versus the Dead. Is that Shaun and the Dead? Something like that. You know what I'm talking about. The Edgar Wright vehicle. So these horror genres that kind of cross over into comedy. Evil Dead, more so Army of Darkness and the new TV series Ash versus the Evil Dead. It does a great job of taking a really dark concept and playing with it and having fun and letting the viewer kind of laugh along with the macabre, and I can never say that word, macabre nature of the story. Basically what we have in this episode, I'll break it down quickly for you. Again, I recommend you check it out. Go watch this thing. It's 23 minutes and it's a hoot. It's a good time as far as Twilight Zone episodes go. It's definitely not cheesy. The humor is not over the top, and that's largely in part due to our director. I would say the comedy hits so well, other than some of the cheesier Twilight Zone comedic episodes, because of Montgomery Pitman, our director. Now, Montgomery Pitman is no stranger to the Twilight Zone. He's directed quite a few episodes, but I think what's very interesting about this guy is he was, I believe, the only director to write his own Twilight Zone episodes. It's not something that we would see in television at that time. It's not something, obviously now we're definitely more in tune to that idea, having our showrunner be the writer director of the initial creation and kind of move forward with the series and take it where it needs to go, especially with places like Netflix, Hulu, these streaming services that are every service, every network. There is no real model anymore that these companies are following. So there's a need for generated content that has a control behind it that normally would have been overseen by the network and maybe some of the affiliates of the network, that just exists, but not in the same fashion. And it's such a scattered landscape of entertainment and media that you almost need that key person to carry the project forward. And yes, taking in all the other collaborative efforts around you, but adding to it the idea of a consistent viewpoint throughout that story. And Pitman, Montgomery Pitman, was able to do that early on in the Twilight Zone with some of his episodes. This was not one of them. Rod Serling did write this episode, but I think it's a great bit of business to team him up with Pitman because he was totally a character. Montgomery Pitman was a character-driven director, for sure. If you wanted to have a Twilight Zone that was very eerie and dark and steeped in horror, you would look to someone like John Brom. Or if it was a very fantastic supernatural episode with a lot of heavy magical elements or science fiction-y type things that needed to kind of, not so much science fiction, but at least the idea of dealing with the occult or a strange, askew feeling that you would want to bring to the production, Douglas Hayes would be a great person for that. You wanted a more traditional kind of sitcom-y feel for the episode, you would go to someone like Richard Berry or maybe Buzz Kulick. Buzz Kulick maybe more for a Western, things like that. But for a episode like this that is so heavily driven by the ensemble cast and the characters within it, you needed someone like Montgomery Pitman to just carry them along. And there's some great moments that hit really well in this episode. Again, I'm not going to get into it too heavily. Maybe if I have time, I'll sit down and talk a little bit more about it on the audio episode version of it. I want to get into cooking the food. I don't have a ton of time today, and I've never cooked anything like this before, so I'm a little, I don't want to say nervous, but I definitely don't want to screw it up. And it's going to be a little weird, but that's what's fun about this. I'm definitely not the type of guy who goes out and eats weird, funky-ass street food. I'm the type of guy who likes to order cheese and pepperoni pizza with a bunch of hot wings, and I'm good. If it's got chicken and cheese or maybe beef and cheese, that's what I like. So this weird shit, it's an adventure, and it hopefully will add to the show, and you guys have fun watching me go through it. So this is right up my alley. The sweets, the sugars. That might be a little heavy, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Let me bring you through this story a little bit before we get into cooking our food. It opens up on two patrolmen that have reports of some kind of unidentified flying object that had landed in the woods and taken off treetops. The guys get there. They see tracks leading to a diner. They decide to go to the diner. Once they arrive there, they find a busload of people that was unable to continue on their journey because they had reached a bridge in the road that they could not pass. And that's where we're introduced to our host of characters. We have a young couple, we have an old couple, which, by the way, the old couple has an actor within it. His name is Gene Wills. No, I'm sorry, Gene Wills. She's also in this. Gene Wills plays the woman that warms up to the bus driver. But now within the old couple, we have Bill Irwin playing the man. You may not recognize him when you watch this episode, but Bill Irwin is on Seinfeld, and he does a great job as the crotchety old man on a few episodes of Seinfeld. His character's name is Peter Kramer, and that was actually a nod, kind of an inside joke to Carol Serling, the wife of Rod Serling. Her maiden name was Kramer, so that was kind of like a little inside joke. There's a few of those nods throughout the whole episode. The bus is Cayuga Bus Lines. That's after Cayuga Productions. A handful of things throughout the episode. Also, this is a heavily influenced episode by the sponsors in the sense that we have a lot of product placement. And there's even a moment at the end of the episode where John Hoyt is talking with Barney Phillips, and he says, "These Earthling cigarettes are wonderful." And you can, again, clearly see the Oasis. So this was all very heavy-handed product placement. And we would see at the end of the episodes, Serling doing these Oasis commercials. I do want to get into that a little bit more, but for now, I'll just tell you that there's correspondence out there of Rod writing to people at the cigarette company about the fact that he just wanted to thank the person who had sent him 2 cartons a week, just out of the blue, basically. And he also makes mention of the fact that his doctor said, make sure you take it with some needles when he counts the spots on his lungs. I'm laughing. It is unfortunate, though, that we lost Rod to heart failure that was most likely brought on by smoking. But we don't want to get into that right now. The world is heavy enough. We're going through a very strange time right now. There's possibly war upon us. Why not come to the sanctuary of Rod and Dan's Dimension Diner to make some delicious food? I know I didn't finish going through the episode, but I will. I promise. We will get there. I'm going to figure out how to bring you through this and have fun and not make it boring while we do it. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not really sure. But so they're in the diner, and basically these cops are looking for any type of person that might be a Martian. Now, that was a term that people used at the time for anything that was alien or otherworldly. Martian. I have to give credit to Serling for choosing to use something like a Venusian, people from Venus, that you wouldn't normally hear in the dialect of sci-fi at the time. It was Martian, right? Aliens were Martians, things like that. So they're all in this diner, and it becomes this whodunit of who is this extra person? I may have left that part out, but the bus driver says there were 6 people on the bus. Now there's 7 people inside the diner that all say they were on that bus. So one of them is the Martian that landed that these guys are looking for, the cops. And we have a lot of misdirection going on. Jack Elam plays this kind of crazy old man with a cockeyed, walleye thing. His eye goes to the side because of a childhood fight. He had gotten punched into it and it kind of knocked it out of its socket and didn't work properly. He couldn't see through it, but we're kind of played with throughout the entire episode of who could it be? The couple start to turn on each other when we have Ron Kipling and Jill Isles. She says to him, Ron Kipling says to Jill Isles, you never had that mole. I don't know, one of them says to the other, you had a mole that wasn't there before. And they're like, you're crazy, that was there. They start to question each other, and there's all types of moments that really lead you to believe it's Jack Elam or possibly someone else, but for the most part, they're leaning heavily on Jack, and rightfully so. And he's hilarious. Again, this isn't a joke-filled episode, but as far as comedy goes, you will laugh throughout it because of the performances that Jack gives, contrasted against John Hoyt and Barney Phillips. Barney Phillips is such a lovable guy. He plays a soda jerk in all kinds of productions throughout the 60s and the 50s, but we've seen him specifically in the Twilight Zone in 4 other episodes: The Purple Testament, A Thing About Machines, Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up, and Miniature, which I believe Miniature may have been an hour long. I can't remember. And John Hoyt, of course, we've seen recently in The Lateness of the Hour, which was a videotaped episode. So it comes to happen that the guys, they can't figure out who it is. There's the jukebox is turning on, the lights are going on and off, salt shakers are exploding, all these strange occurrences are happening, and the phone rings. And they find out that the bridge is ready to cross. The bus driver doesn't believe it. He says he knows bridges, and that bridge sways and it's in the wind when it's not even a suspension bridge. It's not supposed to sway. But they decide it's time. The cop said, played by John Archer, who's played an authority figure in many, many different shows of the past, gets them to move on, and they proceed. Now, there is a moment right here in the episode where it would usually get cut from the syndicated version when they would replay this episode. Jack Elam has an interaction with the police about there being 17 more people once they get to where they're going. And again, it's too bad they cut stuff like that because his performance really adds a lot to this. And it's his performance contrasted against the I don't want to say high art civility of John Hoyt, but John Hoyt has this presence of exquisite gentleman, I guess you could say, or someone of stature. And then you have someone like Jack Elam who just looks like a crazy nut. It's great. It really is, as far as ensemble pieces, one of the best episodes we've been given so far. And it definitely gets its credit. It definitely solidified itself in the annals of Twilight Zone history as far as being a favorite amongst many, even without it being more serious drama. So they leave, and then we cut to the next scene of John Hoyt approaching the diner. Now, this is all shot on a soundstage, all at the MGM studio lot. As John Hoyt approaches the diner, there's this shot that's, to me, very reminiscent of William Friedkin's The Exorcist, when the exorcist first approaches the staircase. It's the cover art of that. Now, obviously, this came before. Whether or not it influenced Friedkin, I have no idea. But it's oddly similar. And it's a great, eerie moment that really kind of calms down the pace of where we were at with trying to figure out who was doing what, and just the comedy of what was happening within that frame of the episode. So he walks into the diner and has this conversation with Barney Phillips about what had happened. The bridge collapsed and they all fell into the water. And Barney Phillips is confused. He says, "How are you not wet if you fell into the water?" And that's kind of where I have a little bit of an issue with this episode, where he says, John Hoyt says to him, "What is wet?" And it's supposed to be an indication of, this is the Martian, right? This is the guy that we've been searching for the entire time. But it's kind of like, well, you've been smoking cigarettes and kind of assimilated yourself completely into the earthly world, yet you don't know what wet is. It's a little weird, but this is also the final reveal, where we have the third arm come out from John Hoyt's side, and he lights a cigarette, opens. Basically what happens is he takes out a pack of cigarettes and a lighter and lights it at the same time with his third hand. And this is a very well done physical effect, where they tried it a couple different ways, but basically all they did was have John Hoyt hold the pack of cigarettes here with a coat draped over his shoulders that he had draped over his shoulders throughout the entire episode, and another guy that you can't see off screen working the lighter and the matches. And I think they switch it up for a couple different shots just to make it easier. There's a moment where he drinks the cup, and then there's a moment where he lights the cigarette, and you can kind of tell that they had switched the hands. John's hand was doing it at one point, and then whoever was behind him was doing it at another. But that's not the final twist of the episode. The final twist is, as John Hoyt is explaining to the bartender that I am just a scout here to colonize your planet, and I killed all those people, and we're going to kill the rest of you, and we're going to take over your planet. That's when Barney Phillips takes off his soda jerk hat, and there's this close-up of him, and you know at that moment that something is about to happen, that they're hiding something under that hat. And this is such a famous Twilight Zone image, seeing that third eye come out from underneath the hat. And again, Buck Houghton, the producer of the Twilight Zone, has gone on record saying they tried it a few different ways. They wanted to do it with an optical effect, but you still could see through the eye. It didn't really work well enough for them at the time. So they decided to do a physical cast of the eye, and literally actually ran a wire from the ball inside the socket through Barney Phillips' head in the back, and then had a prop guy behind him work the wire so that it could move up and down. And there is a moment at the very end where there's a close-up and you can kind of see that eye move up and down. But again, I don't mind it. I think it works perfectly. I think it's creepy. I think you're kind of freaked out. I think people at the time, kids at the time, would definitely be scared, especially because you're playing with their emotions with all the laughter that's happening ahead of time. And then this kind of creepy end of, these guys are coming, they're having their own little war on our soil. So there's a lot going on within this. This was shot on stage 19 and stage 11 at MGM. The title was taken from a popular show at the time with Bud Collyer called To Tell the Truth. And Bud Collier's phrase was, "Will the real John Wayne stand up?" Insert celebrity voice here. So initially, though, Rod did write a very similar story in 1958 that I haven't read the story, but there's different accounts of it in Mark Scott Zicree's book and also Martin Graham's Jr. book. And I'm sure the story is out there. I just don't have it. And I didn't take the time to search it up. But if you want to tell me where I can find it, that'd be great. You can contact me. Again, if you want to email us, it's imagineifyouwillpod@gmail.com. If you don't feel like using Twitter, if you do want to use Twitter, it's @ImagineTZPod or @DanGentz. So imagineifyouwillpod@gmail.com. Feel free to hit me up, ask me whatever you want. But originally it was called The Night of the Big Rain, and it was the shopkeeper's dog that was the Martian that had invaded. To me, that story seems a lot scarier the way it was written. It was kind of written with a little bit of a darker tone. I can't really comment too much on it without seeing it. So anyway, there is a ton more going on with this episode that I'm missing. But all I can really do is encourage you to check it out, give it a chance, especially if you're on the fence of, I don't want to watch these old shows. They're boring. I can't get through it. This one's not boring, and it looks great. It looks fantastic. Even though it was only shot on 2 different sets, it opens up with some stock footage, and the 2 different sets that it was shot on, they did a really nice job. One of my favorite parts of the episode is the opening narration that Serling does. Their cops walk by this rock, and in the shadows, almost completely out of detail because of the way that they lit it, Rod is hiding behind that rock, and then he walks forward into the light and emerges and delivers his speech. And
wintry February night, the present. Order of events, a phone call from a frightened woman, notating the arrival of an unidentified flying object. Then the checkout you just witnessed with 2 state troopers verifying the event, but with nothing more enlightening to add beyond evidence of some tracks leading across the highway to a diner. You've heard of trying to find a needle in a haystack? Well, stay with us now, and you'll be part of an investigating team whose mission is not to find that proverbial needle. No, their task is even harder. They've got to find a Martian in a diner. And in just a moment, you'll search with them because you've just landed in the Twilight Zone.
What a tremendous way to incorporate that opening narration. Now, at the end, usually when we see the trailers, we see Rod in the set of what episode is coming next. This week, we don't see that. He talks about Obsolete Man, and you just see this kind of like blank background. I can see why that would be representative of the new episode, but this is something that would happen later on in the series, usually around like season 3, when he was a lot busier between writing his short stories, teaching, and also doing scripts, things like that. So he was flying in and out from upstate New York back to California. So they would shoot those on a similar kind of just plain background that we see in this episode for the trailer. But let's get into this food, man. Let's make some OKONOMIYAKI. I have no clue if it's going to work out well. All right, let's do it, man. This is going to be awesome. Should be a lot of fun. I'm probably going to have to keep looking at the recipe and the notes because I've never done this before. So I think the first thing we want to do is I'm going to take a bowl, and the ingredients you're going to need are a little strange. You need flour, dry aged ham. Now, I had a very difficult time finding dry aged ham. So what I did was, this is prosciutto, which is a dry aged ham. It should work out very similarly. And I had it sliced pretty thick. So it should work out pretty well with that. That's our prosciutto. You're going to need some cabbage. Got some wonderful cabbage. Silver onions, young silver onions. Egg, butter, oil, mozzarella. I've got some sesame seeds. Now, the recipe that I am using recommends yakitori sauce and mayonnaise. I'm not going to use mayonnaise. And I couldn't find yakitori sauce. This is the closest thing I could find. I can make my own, but I'm not going to do that today because I don't have sake. I got all the stuff to make it except for sake, so I can't make it. So we're going to use this. Says Okonomi sauce. Should be good. And I got this directly from the Hua Asian market in North Tonawanda or Amherst, wherever you want to call that. I'm not really sure. So yeah, that should be basically all you need. Salt, baking soda for this. Oh, and dill. You're also going to need dill, which I have here. Okay, so first, these are all washed. Let's get this all chopped up. I'm not really a cabbage guy. I'm not really sure how this is going to work, but let's see. Ugh. Now, it says green cabbage, but I thought the purple cabbage would give it a weird look, which is what we're going for. We want like a weird alien look. We're making alien food. That's the idea. Go with me, people, on here. Come on, willing suspension of disbelief. It's got to be, it's something, right? It says 300 grams. I'm just going to chop all this up. like the mayor. All right, so what you guys can do is, if you get a chance, leave a comment. Tell me what you think of this Twilight Zone episode. Tell me what you think of this cooking show. I mean, only if it's positive, obviously. I don't want to hear any bullshit. My ego can't take it. I'm just kidding. This is too much. I also don't know how to chop cabbage. I think I may have did it wrong. But it'll work. Smells like cabbage. Smells like cabbage. Small hands. Again, Austin Powers. We're going to get this all choppity. This is definitely too much. Like, this looks like chunky cabbage. That doesn't look right. Maybe I can... Let's try this. Let's try this again. Do we need to watch a video on how to cut cabbage? I think I do. Because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, people. Here. But I think that's, something that I explained on the first show. If you haven't seen this, I am not a chef. And I dropped stuff on the floor. But this is fun. And I think it's going to be a great time. How did that? Maybe they do it this way? There you go. I was slicing it the wrong way, people. That works perfect. All right. Kind of mix that up a little. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Now that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. We're getting our lines. All right. Our lines. But stringy. I don't know. Stringy. Coleslaw-y, right? By the way, I hate coleslaw. So this is probably not going to be my favorite dish, but I'm following the recipe. The recipe also says there's a million recipes out there for this Japanese style pancake, basically. This is supposed to make it look the most alien. But you don't have to use cabbage from what I've read. I've read different accounts of how to do it. So for this part, though, I want to open this up. Mozzarella. And you want to save the water if you can. If you got good mozzarella, there should be good water in there, but there's not a lot in here. This is kind of the cheaper stuff. Usually you get a nice watery type thing in there. There's our mozzarella. Chop that up a little bit more. All right. We'll get our green onions chopped up, our silver onions, they're called, I guess. These are a little sad too, but maybe if we cut off. Yeah, Jack Elam's pretty great. He's hilarious in this. I feel like I'm probably going to not have much of a performance, if that's what you guys came here for, because I'm so focused on trying to figure out how to make this the right way. Should be weird, right? All right, let's get it started. The first thing you're going to want to do is we are going to make the batter. Okay, we got our onions, we got our dill, we got our cabbage, we got our dry aged ham. As I said, there's many recipes. The recipe that I'm following says 2 hands of flour. The other recipe that I found says 1 cup of flour. So we're going to go with 1 cup of flour just to make it shit. That wasn't supposed to happen. I don't think you're supposed to have flour on the fucking shit. Whoopsie. I fucked that up. All right. Should be all right. Should be fine. Fine like wine. All right. 1 cup of flour. All right. It says 1 cup flour. I think that's going to be a little bit too much. Let's try the 2 hands. 1, 2. That's about a half cup. Pie! Well, this says to use the water from the mozzarella, but we're going to need a little bit more than that. So I'm going to use a little whole milk. Get a little creaminess. Should be good. Not much, just a little. Little bit of whole milk. We have to add more, we can. Now, we want 1 teaspoon of baking soda. These are half teaspoons. 1 teaspoon of salt. I use kosher salt. Spilled salt, so you know what I gotta do. Woo, woo, woo. All right, now we need 1 egg. 1 egg. Okay. Now, the recipe that I was following says to use your fingers. I think that's kind of weird. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. This is like 2 fingers. It's like 3 fingers. So we'll just mix that up. I definitely had to add more water and milk. You want this to be a batter consistency, like a pancake batter. That's what you're looking for. It's too thick. A little bit of milk. You want it to be able to pour out of there. This is pretty thick still. Starting to pour. See how that kind of... That's almost perfect. I don't want to thin it out too much because you're going to put some stuff on top of this. Now this dish does require a little bit of timing. Let's see how it works out. I've got my skillet going back here. It should be heated up. Both of these skillets should be heated up about the right temperature. I did that ahead of time because that's going to mess with, I want to rinse all that off. It's going to mess with my flavor. It's going to mess with the consistency. Let's rinse all this off. Be fine. You weren't supposed to mix them together, Dan. You weren't supposed to mix them together. But I did. That's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. They say vegetable oil. I'm going to use some olive oil. I like olive oil. A little olive oil on there. I'm going to get this up a little hotter. Not too hot. Just a little hotter. Now I'm using a cast iron skillet here to make the pancake. Pretty much to make everything. I'm nervous about making this because I don't want to fuck it up. I want it to be good. And it's weird. I'm not used to making weird shit. So, all right. Here we go. Let's start with our batter. Oh, timer. I gotta switch my card. All right, let's do this. I don't want to fuck this up. Here we go. You gotta have enough for 2. All right, so we let that cook up a little. And as that cooks up, we want to take our ham, our dry aged ham. Oh, yeah, beautiful. Kind of start to fry that up a little. We need an egg. We need an egg. Now there's an egg on the ground. Patty's Pub. It's a stress egg. Oh, it must not have been a hard-boiled one. Damn it. That's all right. We got more. We got some more. Now I'm out of space here, so I'm going to use my skillet over here. And also, I want to use a little butter. Just a little butter. Little butter here. Ooh. Get that out of your way so you can see what's going on. Now, that's going to cook. That's hot. It's burning my hand a little bit, but that's all right. Do that like that. Take this. Oh, yeah. Can you see that? We're going to crack that up. Kind of spread that around a little bit. I like a little extra, little salt in my egg. Over the shoulder there. Little pepper. Oh my God, I'm dropping everything, people. I'm dropping everything. I'm losing everything. Now we take our cabbage, sprinkle it right on top. Not only that, we take our mozzarella. Buona birra, mozzarella, buona birra, boya bo. Look at that, mozzarella, mozzarella is for you. Kind of rip that in half. And then you want to take the mozzarella and kind of put that right on there. Mozzarella, put that all on there. Watch it, watch it, watch it. Skillet. Flip that. Oh yeah, look at that. I actually think we need 4 pieces. 4 delicious pieces. You like how I'm not talking about this Twilight Zone episode at all? But it's okay because we're making alien food and there's alien on the episodes, so it all works out. Right? Bear with me, people. It's the Twilight Zone. So then, what you do, making sure that this, you want to make sure that doesn't stick on there. Oh, okay. Okay. Gotta get that there. It's cooking up a little bit more. Cooking up a little bit more. Gotta get that cooked up. Gotta be careful here because this is starting to be done. I didn't time everything out perfectly. This is the base. The prosciutto, the aged dry ham. So we take the prosciutto, egg on top of that, pancake on top of that. Yeah. Trying to at least. All right. We are trying. All right. Boom. Look at that. Turn that back down. Nope, that's not quite cooked yet. I thought it was going to be done. It's not. That's okay. That's perfect. That's the perfect, man. That's exactly what we want. We want that to cook up a little more so we can start our next pancake. I'm running out of space here. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Oh, yeah. She's getting there, baby. She is getting there. I did that wrong. This is supposed to go on here. Like that. There you go. That's right. Then that goes on there. Like that. That's got to cook through though. Okay. Now, kind of let that cook up. We make it another one. Another pancake. Another pancake. But we're running out of space here. Ooh, that's hot. Burning me. I'm going to wait to make that other pancake. All right. We're cooking in the fifth dimension. And that's not recording. Oh, my God. All right. So you missed the entire cooking on this part of it because for some reason I decided not to have the camera rolling. Again, I'm going to get these technical issues worked out one day, people. One day it's going to work just perfect. I don't know when that day is. Definitely not today, but we will figure that motherfucker out, won't we? Do 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 do. Shit. Okay. You don't want the egg yet. Kind of fucked that up. That's all right though. Now, we're going to make that next pancake. Okay. I'm going to try to fix the problem that I just had. Basically, this egg's no good. We're going to make another egg. Then we're going to take all of that on top of the egg. It's coming along, people. It's working. It's working. Definitely working. I had the episode playing in the background here. Jack Elam with his crazy face, crazy eyes. I would say that Steve Buscemi definitely borrowed his character Crazy Eyes on Mr. Deeds from this guy. Again, speculation, but that sure is what it looks like to me. I don't know. All right, so that gets cooked up a little bit further, a little bit more. Let that egg cook up. I don't like to use high heat when cooking my eggs and stuff. So otherwise they'll stick, especially on a cast iron pan. And you do not want it to stick. You just don't want it to happen. All right. So then this egg is pretty much no good. I mean, it's fine. I could use it, but I'm not going to. I'm also, I have to dig out some of these green onions that I mixed in here because I wasn't very smart about how I did that, you know? The cabbage is supposed to be cooked. The onions aren't supposed to be cooked. The onions go on top. I don't know if I have enough to cut anymore. Probably not. I probably don't. That's all right. We're going to get through it. I hope you guys like this food. I hope it comes out good. And if you make it at home, let me know how it turned out. Send me an email or hit me up on Twitter. That's cool too. I like Twitter. Twitter's all right. It's a little too hot. A little too hot. Kind of move that egg around a little bit. Make sure it gets cooked up well. Oh yeah. Now, take this. This goes here, right on top of there, just like that. Let that cook up for a minute. We forgot to put our cabbage in here. That's all right. A little bit of cabbage. Cabbage. A little bit of cabbage. Cabbage de cabbage. Cabbage de cabbage. Anthony Carpaccio. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying right now. Either way, people, I knew this was going to happen. I knew I was going to be super focused on cooking the food that I would not think to talk about the episode or perform or make it more fun. So hopefully the food is entertaining enough. Now this, I'm going to actually go a little heavier. And we want to turn that heat up just a little bit. That's done. We want to grab a plate for the first half. I'll do right here. kind of put that there. Let that sit for a minute. Don't forget our mozzarella. Mozzarella, buona bea. It's the cheese in the pancake. Pancake, cheesy pancake. Kind of sounds weird to me. I hope it turns out good, though. Hey, man, I'm trying new shit. 2020, right? Can't just have pizza and hamburgers and chicken wings for the rest of my life. I gotta have something. Gotta live this life one way or another. I think the dry aged ham probably would have been a better way to go. If I could have found some really nice, you can find it online, you can order it. It's not cheap. That shit is expensive. This prosciutto, I think, was $11 a pound. That's not very cheap either. $10.99 a pound, something like that. So, gonna have to start sourcing out my ingredients and really kind of look for special stuff for you guys because I'm enjoying this. Thinking about doing the cooking show maybe once every 2 weeks instead of every week because I want the show to be more than just a talking head, how to YouTube bullshit. I would like to do some short films, some sketches, things like that. Maybe next week we'll just do a straight up podcast, talking head. I'm not sure yet. All right, so that's nice and grilled up. Kind of look at the bottom of that cake. Oh, she's looking good. I'm gonna let it cook up just a little bit longer. Let that kind of come up through. Let the cheese melt a little more. Because I should have put the thing on there sooner. Maybe I can cover it up a little. Get that to melt. Just a touch. Just a smidge. A smidge. And now we're going to, at the very end of all this, we're going to use our okonomi sauce. Pour it all over this thing. They recommend mayonnaise. I don't like mayonnaise. We're not making mayonnaise. Just not going to happen. But what we can do is that starts to melt up a little more. Pop this. Boom, like that. And I right in there. Turn that heat up just a touch. Just a smidge. Smidgy. We need another bowl to make our other pancakes. This was supposed to be the bowl, but I put all my cabbage in there. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Call the Bainbridge crew. See if we can search out some more green onions while that cooks up. Okay. Yayer. Look at that. Oh, shit. I forgot the egg. Need another egg, too. Cooking. Hopefully. Uh-oh. I forgot the other egg. That's all right. That's okay. I'm reloaded. Scarface. So, we're just about to find out that the passengers can continue on the bus, on the bridge, if you're watching in the background here. Jack Alon, I've got the sound off, but I guess I could turn it up. Why not? What's it matter? It's going to happen. They're going to put a copyright claim on me? You coming after me, CBS, like HBO did for Curb Your Enthusiasm last week? You can have all the money I'm going to make, because I'm not going to make any. Not with the 50 views I'm getting. All right, well, we want to turn this back down now because that has to cook, and I kind of screwed up the timing a little bit, so hopefully we can keep moving this around, and it'll still work. This is the hardest part, trying to get this egg. Just remembering all the things, right? There's not that many things to remember. I'm going to add some roasted sesame seeds on this. It's going to be delish. Okay. Talk about a mess, people. What a mess. We're going to have to clean this up before we start our other pancakes. For sure. For sure. The hair's a little weird today. I don't know what's going on. We'll get through it, though. Ain't no big deal. That's cooking up. Cooking up. So then, what you're creating here is almost like a sandwich. You almost got like a OKONOMIYAKI pancake sandwich. Hopefully it's delicious. It's supposed to be excellent. I didn't add a little extra pepper on this one, but that's fine. Now you have this great conversation between Barney Phillips and John Hoyt. And I have to say that Barney Phillips' reactions are pretty tremendous. The way that he looks surprised and really kind of holds on to that reveal towards the end. Is it because he didn't realize that John Hoyt was from Mars? Or was it just the fact that he thought he was the one? Actually, no, he wouldn't have known because the Martian was the one making all the things happen. One of the things I forgot to mention in this episode is if you pay very close attention, you will notice that John Hoyt does these little gestures and movements to cause the odd occurrences in the restaurant. There's a moment when he's talking to the bus driver, and the bus driver says to him, "There's no way I would drive over that bridge, even if they said it was okay, because it swings like a suspension bridge in the wind." And that's when John Hoyt says, "Well, if they say it's okay, we're going to go." And he says, like, kind of brushes him off with his hand like that. Well, as he does that, the jukebox turns on. And then there's another moment when he looks to the phone and then the phone rings. So if you pay close attention, there are these little moments that are great that, again, I attribute to Montgomery Pitman, the director. Excellent director. Excellent director. Okay, so this is ready to go. I might have waited a little bit too long. Oh, it's a little hot. Oh, no. Here. Put that there. Oh, mamacita. Can you see that? Looking pretty good. Pretty good for you. Pretty good. Now, we take our okonomi sauce. This stuff right here. Can you see that? We pour that all over it. Oh. I do agree. This is an extraordinary place to colonize. I love this. If you're still alive. Smells like ketchup almost. So I also have this soy glaze, sweet soy glaze. Yeah! You see the eyeball? It's awesome. I love how they have this conversation and John Hoyt's like, "Oh, fuck." Well, I'll try it with the okonomi sauce. I think the soy glaze would be better, but actually, you know what? Why not a little soy glaze? This is it, people. Look at that. This is the alien food. Ooh, we don't want to get into this. This is... Can't get into the obsolete, man. No way, no how. Then we'll use a little bit of sesame seeds. Isn't that nice having the TV in the kitchen so you can watch the Twilight Zone while you cook some excellent food? I highly recommend it. When I moved into this place, it was one of those things that I definitely wanted to make sure I had. I probably have too many TVs in this house. Definitely more than I can watch. But I like to play multiple things at the same time so that I can walk around the house, be busy doing things, and fuck. Bunch of safety seal things. And watch whatever I want. We'll put some of these on there. Look at that. It looks pretty fucking good, man. I look like I fucking did something. Look at that. I'm like a real fucking cook guy. Oh, came out pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, slidey. Well, there she is, people. I hope you like it. I'm going to try it in a second here. This is nothing that I would like to eat. It looks absolutely, smells really good. But the mozzarella and the cabbage, I don't know. We'll find out. Let's try it. Let's bite right into this bitch. It's alien. It's actually really good. It's weird. It's good though. Come on, come. Oh, not bad. Mm. It's a lot better than I thought it was. I'm surprised. I like it. Good stuff. Well, this is the other thing we were going to make, the Galaxy pancake mix. Let's make some fucking Galaxy pancake mix. Oh yeah. It's going to be delicious. Sounds really easy. It just says mix this together with 1 1/3 cups milk, 2 large eggs, and 3 tablespoons of melted butter. Let's get the butter melted up. We need that. 1, 2, 3. A little extra. We like a little extra butter, always. 1. I'm just gonna melt the butter right in there. Right in there. 1 1/3 cups milk. I'm gonna have to get a little thingy here. I am really surprised that I like that. That was really tasty. Not bad at all. 1 cup. Oh, it's blue. It's getting blue. 1 1/3. It's blue. 2 eggs. Come on. There you go. You can do it. You can get in there. Getting this butter melted up. Taking a little longer than I wanted. All right, people. I'll use this. We don't want any egg in there. Fried egg. Like I just got in there. We don't want no fried egg in there. Okay. Okay. Then, gotta get a mixer. Mix that shit up. Got the old 1950 style. That's the way to do it. 1950. A little milk in there. Mix that up. This thing does not work. Spread this up. Oh yeah. Very blue. Very alien-like. Very blue and alien-like. I always like to use 2 forks instead of a whisk. I don't know why. Someone taught me that once. Especially with eggs. Works really well. Okay. Now we just want to make sure our all right. Let's take a little bit of butter. A lot of butter. And whew. Might have made those a little too big, people. Little too big. Kind of weird looking pancakes, but what are you gonna do? That'll work, right? That'll work. It'll work. It'll work. Man, this has been fun. I'm really surprised that they turned out as good as they did. Really looking forward to trying these. Now, they suggest you could put sprinkles and whipped cream on top. I don't need all that good stuff. For me, pancakes, I like just butter, and regular, real New York or Vermont or Canadian maple syrup. Yeah, I highly. Oh, you know what I forgot? The dill. It's supposed to have dill on it. Wonder if that's gonna change it. Forgot the dill. You dill weed. Get it? I was really surprised at how expensive dill weed was. This little thing was $7. It's crazy. It's a lot of money for something so small. It says to sprinkle it with dill weed. There you go. Look how alien that looks. They would love that. The Venusians would love it. They would love it. All right. These are getting all cooked up. I love my new cast iron skillet. I highly recommend you get one. A little pricey, I guess. I mean, not really. $30. It's kind of a lot. Worth it. Worth it. Definitely worth it. As far as kitchen gadgets go, not pricey. Not pricey at all. But, I mean, you might not have an extra $30 to throw around. You can buy a cheap pan. Oh, yeah. Look at that. They smell good. They smell really good. That one's not. I didn't let that cook enough on the one side. Well, there's no burner in the middle here, Dan, right? So since there's no burner, it's not going to cook in the middle. What the fuck you thinking, stupid? Yeah, dummy. I mean, obviously this will spread across the whole thing, but it'll spread heat. This conducts heat pretty evenly. It's a good way to cook food, but for the most part, definitely don't want to burn these though. I'm not a fan of burnt pancakes at all. Those are almost done. All right. Sweet. Little pad of butter, as they say. A pad of butter. Little pad. Right there. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Perfect. This one still needs another minute. Oh, yeah. Look at that beauty queen. Beautiful. Hello. Hello. Wonderful. Don't you love when you get back from the bathroom and your food's ready for you? Woohoo! Get some maple syrup on these bad boys. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Pelican Bay Ltd. By the way, I just bought these. They didn't sponsor this or anything like that. I'm hoping maybe I get a couple retweets, something like that. Come on, Pelican Bay Ltd. Hook a brother up. All right, let's try these. Consistency is good. Definitely good. Very good. Steam coming out of there. Now, let's try this bad boy with the dill. See how that turned out. Look at that. Look how blue it is. Ew, it's Martian food. Venusian food. It's really good. The dill's pretty good. The dill does add a lot. Holy shit. That's really good. Grace is here. Oh, dog's in the kitchen. No. Dog in the kitchen. She's like, I don't like that. Sorry. All right, now I gotta wash my hands. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. This turned out really good. Highly recommend you try the OKONOMIYAKI, whatever. I'm saying it wrong. Really good. There are a bunch of different recipes out there. I got this recipe from Almazan Kitchen. You can check them out as well. But yeah, I'm really surprised at how well this turned out and how cool the blue cabbage looks inside there. Total alien food. Total alien food. Total alien food. Came out really good. I don't know why I was bending down like you couldn't see me. You can see me just fine, can't you? All right. Anyway, it's Good stuff. It's just so hearty. I don't want to eat it all right now. Look at that. Venusian food. I didn't think I'd like the cabbage. It's really good. It's good. It's surprisingly good. This is not something I would ever eat. This is. That turned out really good. The dog just hit the camera. All right, people. I'll see you next week inside Rod and Dan's Dimension Diner when we're talking about the obsolete man. That's all I got.